The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Green Bay Packers twice last year. They beat them on the opening week of the season in I'm going to say a wild shootout, but in a shootout. I think that game was in Brazil, if memory serves correctly. And then they beat them again in the playoffs in a game that was much lower scoring, 34-29 in the first meeting, 22-10 in the second meeting. So Philly showed that they could beat Green Bay in a high-octane shootout, and they showed they could beat Green Bay in a defensive scrum. Now, the Packers have a chance for revenge on Monday Night Football, where they didn't get to play either game against Philly last year at Lambeau. This year they do get to play against Philly. And boy, when you look at the odds logic live on screen right now, it's a Packers team that's getting a fair bit of respect. -1.5, -2. I'm seeing -2.5s out there right now. And it's always worth noting when there is a line variance. And this is a game where there's line variance right now. So whichever side you like, if you like if you like Green Bay, you can lay 1.5 right now. If you like Philly, you can get 2.5 right now. So it's worth noting that line variance total sitting in the 46 range. 45.5s are out there for the Packers and Eagles Monday Night Football. So the two meetings last year, relevant only in the sense that we saw Philadelphia find ways to win in different styles. Obviously, it's a new year for these two squads. And Philadelphia basically has I'm not going to say a completely new defense, but you want to talk about a team that made significant additions at the trade deadline. Well, they got Jair Alexander from the Baltimore Ravens. They got Jalen Williams from the Miami Dolphins. They got Michael Carter from the New York Jets, who are all veteran players who should be able to help them right away. Will that help them their very first game in this defense? I'm not quite so sure that that's going to be the case. I really not. And I know it's big names. It's a championship caliber team. It's an Eagles squad that went into the bye week playing great football, consistently this season. And there's no aberration for Philadelphia's record. And of course, they're coming off the bye week off back-to-back Wednesday, the win against Minnesota, and then the blowout over the Giants. So I'm not going to call them fat and happy, but they went into there wasn't the sense of urgency that you might see from some teams when they go into buyout losses or a couple of bad losses. Whereas perhaps there is some urgency for the Green Bay Packers side here after they suffered a pretty embarrassing loss at home last week, the biggest favorite of the year in the NFL to go down as 13.5-point chalk against Carolina. And it was a pretty sluggish showing. And obviously the stakes even higher this time around. Before I talk about who I'm going to bet in this ballgame, before I really give some analysis for Green Bay, I do want to ask you guys one simple favor. If you like these type of breakdowns, hit that like button. Thank you. That's all I ask. Comment below. Tell us what you think about the game. And of course, if you haven't done so, we have, a quarter of a million, nearly a quarter of a million subscribers to the Wager Talk YouTube channel. That's a big number because we put out a big amount of content. Every day there's like 6-8 hours of content from Wager Talk TV. Multiple sports, multiple cappers. Some of them you might like, some of them you might not. But the bottom line is lots of quality, free play content on a daily basis from Wager Talk TV. If you haven't subscribed, do it right now. You get instant alerts every time we go live. Worth doing, at least in this bettor's opinion. Thank you for the plug. And of course, check out my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. Last weekend was not a good one. I'm pissed off. Sometimes you want me off a losing weekend. This might be one of those situations. Check out the website. Again, wagertalk.com or my homepage, wt.buzz/TC. I tell you when I'm running great and I tell you when I'm not. And last week was ugly. Hungry, focused, ready to win this week. Check it out. Again, wt.buzz/TC to get on board. So I like teams off embarrassing losses. I like good teams off embarrassing losses. And Green Bay's a good team. All right. They've not been good against the point spread. They're just 1-5 ATS in their last 6 contests. The only win coming at Pittsburgh. During that span of game, they won by double digits. But that's been their only point spread cover since week 2 of the season on Thursday night. It was a Thursday night game when Washington came to town and they destroyed them. So they looked great the first 2 weeks of the season. And since then, 1 point spread cover. So there's no betting bandwagon for Green Bay right now. There really isn't. We think about the defense for the Packers, and it's been up and down. And the defense was real good last week against Carolina, largely. They got doubted a little bit, but it's a defense that at times this year has been pretty dominant. Really has. And is capable of putting together, halfway's capable of calling a heck of a game plan. And this is a defense that's capable of creating problems, even for an offense like Philadelphia, that has elite receivers, elite QB, elite offensive line, and elite running back. And yet they're underdogs for this one, which tells us what the markets think about the Packers for the purposes of this ballgame. It is absolutely a step-up spot for Green Bay. It's a spot for Green Bay to prove we're real. And the offense, again, prior to last week, that was clicking. Jordan Love still has bad games. At times, Green Bay gets in and out of sync offensively. That being said, they're not outclassed here. I'm not convinced that everything for Philadelphia when it comes to the acquisitions that they made are going to be seamless. And it is absolutely a Green Bay spot where they're capable, and Jordan Love is capable, of winning the game and potentially winning it by margin. So, bottom line for me, Monday night, Packers or pass for this better. Respect for Philly, but this isn't their spot. This isn't their game. It's Green Bay's game, at least in this bettor's opinion. Thank you for watching. Again, appreciate those likes, comments, and follows very, very much. Check out my homepage, www.buzz.com/TC. Visit the website, wagertalk.com. And stay tuned right here on this channel for more quality, free play video content from Wager Talk TV. Cheers.